Today I'm joined by Spencer Freeman, Las Vegas Blitz team calling top four player, and also Nationals top eight. How are you doing today, Spencer?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Doing fantastic. I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
That's good.
Today we're going to be doing a deck tech of our deck that we played at Nationals. So how was your Nationals experience?
It was pretty fun, I think. Um, I got in early Thursday, so I took a red eye, which kind of sucks, but then I got to just relax all day, and by relax I mean play Fab. Um, I got to test against Tyler Horspool and Alexander Vor. Um, Give me some fire reps because I just picked up the deck on Thursday.
Oh man, I can't believe I convinced you to play the deck finally.
I know. I was pretty hard stuck on Oldham, but then I was like, I don't know if I can beat Fi. And then I wasn't crazy about playing the mirror all day in Icelander, so we switched over to Fi.
That's kind of crazy because a lot of people are saying that Fi is actually a pretty good matchup for Oldhim. In your experience over the weekend, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I do think Fi beats Oldham. I heard some like various viewpoints throughout the day on how it's just like an Oldham smash or Fi wins every time, but I really like the match Fi and Oldham. Um,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So how did you do in that? Like, what was your record going to top eight?
Going into top eight, we were 3-0 the first draft, and then we went 3-1 in CC that day, and the next day 2-1 in draft, and then 3-1 again in CC. So
What were your CC matchups?
CC matchups, we played against I think three Oldhams. Uh, got my cheat sheet here. We played against Icelander first. We won, uh, barely. We were both at one, but I felt like I was in the driver's seat the whole time. I was under Channel Lake for like 8 turns though. It's like we played all three of
Eight
them.
turns.
Yeah, it was disgusting. But we got there, and then we played against Bravo, which I also won at one life. He crippling crushed me 3 times that game, but we still got there.
Okay.
I drew 2 of my sinks, which really helped me stay alive. And then we played against a Viserai. Oh, that Viserai match was hilarious. Me and this guy drew so terrible, just complete garbage, back and forth. We played the longest aggro match, and not because we were really blocking. It's just we're like, oh, my 5 cards do 7 damage. How do you? he would go Sonata with Tome with, and then he's just like red mauve on my one attack blue vexing, and I'm like block with tunic, and he's like, all right, your turn. I was like, wow.
That's really funny because I feel like that's the reason why I don't play Viceroy, because I feel like sometimes you get these hands that are just completely unplayable. But that's also the complete opposite reason of why I do play five, because I feel like every one of your hands do the same thing. So that's
Yeah,
really funny to hear that
they were
that's how it goes.
just the most awkward hands. I drew. I had an all blue hand, 4 blues, and we're playing
Okay.
12, so we drew a third of them in one hand, and then we would shuffle the deck and then redraw 4 blue hand. It was disgusting. My mana was awkward. I drew like a hand of all of my one costs together. I don't know. It was just an awful game, but we got there. We won at like 6 life too, so it was pretty convincing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually feel like the one costs are some of the cards I hate them in the deck besides Little and four. But okay,
Yeah.
so is that all your matches or
Oh yeah, and then so that was my third one, and then my fourth match was against an Oldham. This was like the saddest loss I think I had all weekend, besides my top 8 game. We didn't cast Phoenix Flame one time in like a 20 turn game. It just started off terrible. He dominated with effects like Terra Sundered me every single turn. And then when we finally got a chance to play, they were just bad, awkward hands. So, and I got him down to one. I got this Oldham player down to 1 life, and I drew literally trash, and he drew perfect, and we still almost
Mhm,
won, which just shows you that the matchup's super favorable.
mhm.
Um, I guess we can talk about draft too, right? I drafted Fi. That day one, I did, and my pool is just insane. There was only 2 of us, and I played the other Fi in the finals, and both our decks are just crazy.
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. I feel like I've heard really mixed things at national draft. I also drafted Fi, and my deck was pretty insane. Our decks were really similar. We just had a ton of red starters,
You know,
all of the best Fi cards, and there was only two Fis in my pod. It was really strange where in one of my friends' pods, it was 6 FIs. I really don't. I'm guessing just some people didn't practice draft. That's probably expected, but also um, maybe just too many FI drafters sometimes, or too many people that FI isn't good enough. I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. Talking to people, it seemed like a lot of people were playing Dromai.
Yes,
I didn't see the numbers, but I do feel like Dromai was overrepresented day one, and maybe even day two.
I
I don't know about that, but
I think there were more Dromais than Icelanders, but there
yeah,
was more FIs. Oh,
maybe.
okay, so
And then
how'd you do second day? Yeah.
second day we drafted Dromai. Unfortunately, I don't know if I regret not going Phi because the person to my right was Phi. But I gave really big signs that I was not playing Icelander. I pretty much forced the person next to me to be Icelander. And I think that was in my favor because 2 seats away was Michael Hamilton. And I just had a
Mm.
feeling he likes playing Icelander. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get
He
both
definitely
these
does
people
like playing
next to me
Icelanders.
to play Icelander. And it worked too. So I played Dromai, and both the people next to me, I played them both, and we beat them both with Dromai, which was the idea. And then we lost to
Mm.
Daniel in his Vi deck. And I sat down and I was like, there is zero chance I'm winning this game. My deck had like 16 blues and like 9 ways um, of the things that
What
make all
a
the 1/1s. So I was just
what
I was
an
just trying to kill Icelander.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. I see. That makes sense. That's a very interesting strategy. How's your day two CC?
Good, good. We played against Oldham twice in a row. The second one was on stream. We crushed them both, even though the second Oldham started with he went first and went 10 dominate, and I was like block two.
Yeah, that
So
sucks.
bad start, but we crushed them. I think we won at 10 life or 11. That was on stream. You guys can check that
Was
out.
that the guy that flipped over the rampart?
Oh yeah, yeah. He flipped over a Rampart.
Oh
We
man,
talked about it after, and
I felt so bad.
when I
He did
saw
not believe
Rampart,
me.
I was like, "Oh, this is free."
He did not believe me when I was like, "Oh, this measure is so free."
Mm-mm.
He really wanted to argue it, but anyway, I
And
guess
then
that didn't.
and the match before, we actually played against Cody Williams, Oldham, and
Hmm.
he had Stalagmite, but that card's really hard to use. And both times he used it didn't hurt my turn at all, and it's really hard to guess when it will hurt your turn.
That's
Um,
interesting. I think stalagmite definitely makes it so it could hurt your turn, and it could save them a lot more than just 2 or 1 day. And also, I feel like blocking for free is so crucial.
Yeah, I agree.
They
Like I
should
said,
be,
I think Stalagmite is better. I just think
yeah,
he did not
yeah.
use it properly against me, and we beat him very convincingly. I think I was at like 16. It was a smash. I could tell he was upset the whole time. I think he did draw bad on
Yeah,
on his like turns where like he had to be strong. It was like whatever the eight attack is that doesn't let me gain attack power. How's that one called?
choke slam.
Choke slam. Yeah, it was like a choke slam. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. And I still presented
Choke
like,
slam is pretty bad against Fi. I feel sometimes it's good, but I feel like
mm,
you just draw those hands with like
yeah.
all go agains,
I was like, I'll
which
just
isn't really.
arsenal this Phoenix Flame and still hit you for 17. And so it was a good trade for me.
Hmm.
And like he needed like a spinal on that turn and didn't get it. So
Yeah, I think I remember seeing you on camera playing against Dash as well, right?
yes, we had Dash after the Oldhams. That was the the strangest. I was looking at the guy's deck. It was just all block threes and fours, and we win that every time because really hard to fatigue Phi since we have infinite Phoenix Flames. So that match was pretty free. But if you guys want to see me do tons of damage to someone with 70 HP, you can check out that Dash game. And
Terrible, terrible.
then I was guaranteed top 8 after that, and I sat next down to Daniel at table 1, and I was just kind of memeing a little bit. I was guaranteed third place no matter if I won or lost, so I really didn't care. We played about a 3-minute game. My opening hand was blue minnow, and my second copy of
Uh,
Phoenix Flame, and I was just like, oh, there's no point in playing this. I think the problem was is like he was like presenting his entire hand, and I should have used armor to block mom triggers. Um,
yeah, yeah.
I still got him down pretty low. The game is actually still pretty close, regardless of that. But I think the combo version does really well into Daniel's list at the end of the day. I wish we got to play in top 8 for real. That would have been a good match.
Combo version. All right. I mean, like, enough of this chit chat.
I
Let's
know,
get
right?
into the actual deck profile. Tell me about the equipments first, I guess.
Nice, nice,
What are we
nice.
playing?
So we are playing these equipments, as you can see. We're always playing Emberblade. We don't even have Kadachi's in the list. I just
Why is
like
that?
I like Armor Blade more. It's more consistent damage. You get to these certain lines where like we've talked about a lot. It gets Oldham, where you just pitch a blue on their turn, add Phoenix Flame to your hand, go to your turn, go attack with Phoenix Flame, pitch blue, Ember Blade, return Phoenix Flame to hand, and attack for 2. It's just 5 damage, which is more than their whale. So Oldham has a hard time fatiguing you. They also can't really crown any of that damage away. So
And that's 5 damage because of Shuko, right?
yeah, because of Shuko, which we're also always playing. Um, we don't even have an arms alternative, so it's just always in the list. Same with Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. Who needs to draw cards when we could just draw the best card? Um,
Yeah, I think this is something that I've been working on with my like some of the Vegas folks for a long time. Kind of what I feel like is like I feel like Mass Momentum is not very good. Um, but we also felt like maybe it was like kind of an inbred meta where we just kept on playing Fire Mirrors, and it felt like you had to get 2 or 3 Mask of Momentum triggers to equal that one Mask with a Pouncing trigger.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, no
yeah,
Mask of Momentum. Do you feel like
yeah.
you missed it?
No, I never played against Dromai, and maybe if I did, I would have wanted it. But the deck is pretty favored for Dromai, anyways, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They are close matches, the better Dromai players with the, but I don't know. The cool thing about Mom is that it blocks 2. So
Hmm.
even if you draw like just 3 damage off it, you still get to block 2, which could be nice for like on hit triggers to not give your opponent real cards.
Yeah, I think the problem I ran into running this deck, or maybe it was like some of the earlier iterations of the deck. Maybe Mom needs to revisit now, but it felt like on average you're going to be drawing like a head jab or worse,
Yeah,
right?
you're
It's
like,
not always you're not always guaranteed to draw like a finisher, so it
hmm
feels like
and when you draw
zero,
blue
like you've
off
just
of
run
it,
3 damage.
it's really
Yeah.
bad. Like on your big turns, drawing a blue is not good. And if you ever play against Iceland or Oldham, you're not really getting 3 attacks in a row. Even if they're holding
Mhm.
cards, they can usually block 1, and you just much rather get links. It's only one thing needs to hit, and you're finding like 6 damage usually at least. So
Yeah, it just feels like it's always pressure, and it's actually fine to hold links for a while, and even if especially if there are if any opponent is at like 20 life, they just feel pressure to block it every turn, and if they do block it, you're just presenting the same links next turn.
yep,
um Overall it feels pretty good.
yeah, no link
All right,
attacks is awesome. And then for boots, where
let's
they're playing, yeah, Snapdragon Scalers or Flippers.
mhm.
I guess we should talk about Blossom. We played Blossom against literally the Mirror or like a Viscerai match. Though we're still not sure if Blossom is better than Tunic. The idea is that we're going off turn 2. We'll present like 10 damage turn 1, Arsenal turn 2, kill him. And you want to have that option, so that's why we're playing Blossom. But
Actually, I think it's funny because I started playing this deck as a combo deck for most of the time I played it, but I realized that in some matchups I'm just fishing for the combo, so
mm,
like I'm waiting around 3 to go off sometimes anyway. So Tunic does feel like for example, like into Dromai
yeah,
or maybe even Viserai. Like I don't kill them super fast.
mm, yeah, and it's funny because like it is a combo deck, but I don't think I ever necessarily waited for the combo. I mean, I arsenaled like my combo pieces all the time, but I don't think I ever held them for more than 2 turns.
We're talking about the combo, but I don't think we even told anyone what is the combo, Spencer.
The combo, we just remove a tunic counter and play a belittle or an art of war, and then we just kill them. I mean,
Yeah.
we're coming in with like 6 card hands because of the tunic mana just making things free. And
Mhm.
doing it with belittle is pretty strong, right? I play a 3 attack for free, and I just search a blue. So, I still have the 4 cards in my hands and my arsenal, and I'm attacking you currently. That's pretty strong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I guess lastly we have a furnace.
And the furnace. Yep, the furnace is the idea of it was for Bravo. Looking back, maybe we could use it versus Oldham. Because the Oldhams realized that, hey, the only way we're winning this game is if we're doing a like if they're attacking us, right? They're doing like a tempo battle. They're like trying to smash us with the stuff. So maybe bringing in sinks and playing furnace is the way to do it.
Yeah, I think you told me that you actually didn't bring in the sinks against Oldham. How did it feel without the sinks?
It still felt fine, but there was times where I was like, oh, if they just draw like perfect, or maybe
Hmm.
even like It probably has to be like more than above average, like but like very strong. If they're just doing that, like spinal, terrace under, just constantly disrupting my hand, it's pretty annoying. And if you block like one of that for free at the sink, it could be pretty devastating for them.
Yeah, I feel like I tried your method. So I actually I played in nationals and then dropped to play the 4-3. But I felt like I took your advice for Oldhim and I didn't bring in the sinks and it was fine. In the matches where they flip over Rampart, you could just get a sink stuck in your arsenal, and
Mm,
then you can never get 5 card hands. So uh, it feels like sinks maybe one or two, I guess.
yeah,
But
that's
Furnace also can come in against uh Dorinthia, I think.
oh yeah, versus Dorinthia too. We never played against a Dory, thankfully. I'm not sure who wins that. People
I
say
think it
that
is
Dory are
really,
favored, but
dude. They're gonna smash us.
I'm just like Mask of the Pouncing Link is so strong. I mean, I'm just gonna kill him in 2 turns and hope they don't kill me in 2 turns. So,
Yeah, yeah. All right. So, do you want to? Is there anything you want to talk about for the rest of the deck? I know most of the people can just look on
um, yeah, there's some things.
FABTCG.
So I would say like Double Strike. This card, it was everyone I played it and everyone looked at me like I was crazy. And I want to be honest, guys, Double Strike is one of the best cards in the deck. It like almost guarantees a Link's trigger if you want it that turn, no matter how much they're trying to block. And also with Shuko represents 0 for 3 split damage.
Hmm.
But I really like Double Strike. I also just really like putting a blank sleeve on my board and saying, "Yep, this is Double Strike."
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's fun. I know we
Yeah,
had a lot
Double
of
Strike is
questions.
pretty insane with Artivores as well, right?
Yeah, especially with the Art of War, then it's 0 for 5, and that's pretty good. A lot of people were talking about Inflames. They were in the sideboard. They were only for Oldims that were trying to like fatigue. Which again we didn't see much of. I would also bring him in versus Jomai, but we never really played Jomais. So, but Inflames are cool. As you can see, we only have 2 Phoenix Flames in the whole deck. I think 2 is enough.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think 2 is enough.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you
I see
agree
that you're
too.
playing 8 finishers. How do you feel about that?
8, right? We play the play 2 snatches, 3 salt the wounds, and 3 lava burst. I feel good about it. Snatch wasn't an overperformer or underperformer. It was kind of just a card. Honestly,
Hmm.
I think it could have been something else, and maybe sometimes it was like good pressure when you end the turn on a snatch, and they're like, But overall, the card was pretty mid. I wouldn't say it like
Wow.
won me any
Okay.
games or like, yeah, like Lava Burst was MVP for sure. If I had to rate them, Lava Burst would be number 1, Salt would be number
Mm.
2, and Snatch 3. I had one game where I just absolutely dumpstered someone and I double salted them, but
Yeah.
for like 8 and 9. But otherwise, I think Lava Burst is just stronger and more consistent. Salt is a 3 block that also pitches for 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like Snatch for me was actually really good. I think I was playing. I added one more back. I changed a couple of cards. Going into the calling. For example, like I cut Phoenix Flame. I cut the Flame Call. Added in more Soaring Strikes.
Mm,
Um, just as like another 1 for 4 breakpoint. Uh, and people just don't block it, and then you can just um, or a lava burst, and then you can for another lava burst or so I think that was fine. Uh, Another card I feel like was pretty interesting was Rise from the Ashes. I feel like that was not a card that was originally playing, and I think originally in that slot was Rabble.
yeah.
So how do you feel about those two cards?
I really like Rise from the Ashes. It's a good red starter for activating like Flame Call and stuff and your hedgehogs. It also, if you compare it to something like Inflame, some people might think like Inflame is more damage. Inflame is only more damage than Rise when you present 3 buffs, which
Hmm.
is pretty impossible. I don't think I ever 3 buffed someone all tournament. I mean, I got a couple
Dude,
twos.
that reminds me. I actually 3 buffed a Pummel Icelander and I won. It
Yeah.
was like a 30 damage turn, and I hit them for exact lethal. They were at 20 life with full blocks and a tunic. I hit them for a 32 with spreading flames, art of war, drawing into another art of war, drawing into belittle plus red lava vein.
Crazy.
It was so crazy.
Yeah.
And then I ended up losing my last game to Bravo. But
Yeah.
that was really awesome.
But yeah, no,
So
I really like Rise. Usually it's
mhm.
like a 0 for 5 when you have the second Phoenix Flame in the yard. So it also just really helps with those breakpoints, like going on a Mounting Anger and going for 7 is pretty hard to block.
Yeah, I really liked the rise in anger. Um, it's basically a 1 for 8 at that point.
Yeah.
But for me, I felt like the problem with rise was when you draw it with art of war,
Yeah, I
where
didn't.
either 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 you have to banish your Phoenix Flame that you get back,
Mhm.
or you just can't you just can't
I think
start your
I
combo off.
banished my second Phoenix Flame twice the whole tournament,
Hmm.
so I wasn't opposed to doing it, especially if they weren't trying to fatigue me. I was just like, oh,
Hmm.
this is great value. Let's go Rise, get Phoenix Flame, banish it. Like, why just, you know, now my Rise just turned
Hmm.
into like 6 damage instead of 4. So that felt really good. Also, I really just like Rise, like getting the Phoenix Flame back, and then you pitch it for another card, Arsenal your Flame Call, and the next turn you know you're going to get your Flame back. So there's just cool interactions with Rise. The one thing I would say to everyone is don't play this card versus Icelander. Of course, I
Yeah.
sided 2 out in my top 8 match, and then I opened the third, and I was just like, I guess I should have taken out all 3. But
Uh, Another controversial card I feel like is Spreading Flames. I think a lot of the Kodachi builds don't play it. How do you feel about Spreading Flames?
uh, uh, this card is interesting. It makes some of your turns just absolutely stupid, like so dumb. If you guys saw my top 8 match, the last turn where I should have won, Spreading Flame was adding like 3-4 damage to it, and that's like a really
Hmm.
good rate, right? 1 for 6.
Yeah.
So, but other times when you have like 2 1 costs in hand and no blue, and you're just like, why do I play this card?
Yeah, yeah. That is
But
I hate this card.
it's also
I
just nuts. So we gotta play it.
Yeah, I think it's more so like I like it primarily for Oldhim. I feel like it makes Oldhim really good where you can start stacking damage and they just have a hard time blocking two buffs, like a
Hmm.
Spreading Flames with an R4, for example.
Yeah.
Um,
Any deck that wants
so
to
just
block you, the card's just
yeah,
really good.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Alrighty.
and I think yeah, the only other thing was yeah, we had some like extra spots. Like we play 1 yellow brand and like 1 red soaring strike. Um,
Hmm.
I actually really like the yellow brand. I think I would keep it going forward. The soaring strike probably could be anything else. Maybe I would try 1 copy of
Yeah.
Enlightened Strike because there's also some cool interactions you can do, putting Phoenix Flames back and researching for them.
That's what you originally told me when you do the Kodachi deck
I know. And then
way back.
for the sideboard, that's all you got was for the mirror. And honestly, if I sat against Daniel in the finals, I wouldn't even have brought him in. So
Do you feel like this might be like a play draw dependent thing?
yeah, I think if you go first, you want to bring in 2 or maybe 1. I think 3 is too many. I'm really hesitant on even 2 because what if I'm trying to kill him and I draw 2? Now, if I'm trying to draw
Yeah.
1, like okay, sure, I'll have an arsenal that will block some of his combo. Uh, but I definitely don't want 3. And then Epot
Hmm.
was actually just like MVP. It's how you beat Icelander, like guaranteed usually. And I like bringing in 1 versus Oldhim too, because you can usually just lay it down at the end of a chain and then just use that 2 mana later, like you would with the Tunic, and it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, for me, Epot was insane against Icelander. That's literally the only way I managed to beat her because the turn before it was Frostfang pummeled, and so I discarded a Mounting Anger, and then I paid 2 with the Epot. And so going into my turn, I had an Arsenal 3 card hand with Tunic Trigger, and so I think that ended up being a 5 card hand because I drew into the Belittle off the art. So
Nuts.
yeah, Epot actually was even good against the Pommel version of Icelander.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
and I
think
think
that's
do we mention that the sinks were only for Bravo? I guess probably for
yeah.
Jersey as well. want to.
Yeah, probably for Dorinthia. Yeah, that's what you were saying too. Because me and Wes were talking before, and we're like, "Oh, that's all you got? It's pretty good against Dory too. Look at all these D reacts
Yeah.
we play." And kind of cheeky, right, from Arsenal. But again, like we probably have to race them to win. Do I really want 60 reacts in my deck? So if
Yeah,
I were
that's
gonna
true.
make some changes, I'd probably cut some amount of D reacts and probably the one soaring strike for an Enlightened strike. But otherwise, I felt like the deck was really consistent, and like my one true loss, which was probably like top 8, was like my real loss. That had a normal game. It was like a misplay. I think the deck is very solid, and with a good
Hmm.
pilot, should do very very well.
Yeah, I think I played one of the yellow belittles over strike in the main just to have 4 belittles more consistently get to your combo.
Yeah, I can
I
see that
think
too.
to elaborate a little more on the sinks, you're actually against Bravo. I feel like it should be agreed that it is not a very favorable matchup, especially compared to Oldhim. Um, Bravo feels like it has a lot more disruption,
Yeah.
and they could do it every turn. They usually don't miss, and when they do, it's like if they Anathos you for 6, that's when you kind of turn the corner.
Hmm.
So it feels like you really need to slowly chip them, trade damage, block when possible, and you play like a really slow game compared to and sync combined with your furnace can buy you a turn against like Spinal Crush or Crush the Weak. But it felt like CNC Pummel was just that was so brutal every time that.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that. Um, it is a good combo. Like I guess again, the one Bravo I played, it was 1-1. Though I did let myself
Hmm.
go to 1, so I could end the game.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it it felt like it could have went bad. He drew one hand that was all reds, and then the game was just over. So
Yeah, yeah,
they really can't miss. Like maybe it does feel unfavorable, but the second they miss, you take advantage of it very very hard.
yeah.
And
Especially with links.
yeah, and they do not block well. Like they're not playing D reacts. They don't have crown. They don't have a offhand shield. So you kind of just
Hmm.
smash them. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think for the calling, the day after, I actually switched out the "That's all you got" for "This round's on me." I think for me that was it seemed like it was good the night before because what I realized was everyone was going to be on the Kodachi list instead of Emberblade, and with "This round's on me," that means presenting 2 less hits from Kodachi and potentially 1 less flame. So that just makes it so that they can uh they what's it called, the mask momentum.
Hmm.
It's less likely for them to trigger mask momentum. So I feel
Yeah,
like that does buy you like an extra turn, especially if you're going
I think so too.
first, I guess.
You're also turning like the 3 breakpoints into 2s, and you could give them
Hmm.
a piece of armor then to turn off mask. So there's you just make the breakpoints a lot easier, or and just the damage in general, right? When they're presenting 5 or 6 attacks, you're like, oh, -6 your damage, and maybe you did give them a card, but that card only had 3 attack, so you just you
Yeah,
healed appropriately and turned off their weapons and their Phoenix Flame.
yeah. I think originally it seemed like it was really good back when we were playing with the gosh, what's that arm called? Stubby Hammers,
Stubby hammers.
and then like it was not so good, but I think it's good again. So that's one of the changes that I think could potentially be made.
Yeah. I like to compare Stubby Hammers and Shuko to like mom
Yeah.
and Lynx. It's just like,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
we like playing the combo version better.
Yeah, I think the combo version was good. So
Exactly.
overall, I feel like one of the big reasons to play the deck is I thought that this deck had a favorable matchup against 3 of the top decks going into Nats, which were Oldhim, Icelander, Dromai.
Mm.
Do you think anything has changed since Nats?
No. And again, I think I should have won my top 8 match. Looking back at the video, I did miss a line that would guarantee me lethal on the last turn. Guess I was
Hmm.
nervous, unlucky, but
Yeah.
but no,
It seems like it's also.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, and like I said, I tested against Alexander Vor because he brought Icelander. We played like 4 matches, and it felt pretty convincing. during our
Hmm.
games. He was pretty much like, I have to draw perfect and channel like you for half the game, and to even have a
Yeah,
chance. And I was like, yeah, it felt very good versus Icelander.
yeah. I should have never brought that to light, and you would never even had a chance to play Oldhim.
Oh yeah, I was so close. I couldn't settle on a list because I love fatigue, and I didn't
Hmm.
think that I don't know. Though I think
Yeah,
if I
I think
brought Oldham, I think I would have made top 8. So if
it's the
that
same then, right?
looking
I
at my matches, I think I would have
okay.
won. I would think I would have 4-0'd my CC matches that day one if I played fatigue
Mm,
Oldham. So
okay.
because yeah, well, but who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think this deck also has a favorable matchup against Dash deck,
Hmm.
the super life gain one.
Oh yeah, I don't know if my
Um
fatigue Oldham would have beat that. That
yeah, yeah.
I
And
don't know if
then
he did 70 damage.
Viscerai and Briar, I feel like those are pretty close, but I've heard that people say that Mask of Momentum makes Briar pretty favorable, so maybe that's something that we test again.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think like overall, the only bad matchups truly are Bravo and Dorinthia, but Bravo you can outplay, and I haven't seen a Dorinthia just yet. So
Yeah, I also think Dory's just not ready for the meta. I don't think she
mm,
likes playing against Icelander or Oldham, so not her
okay.
time.
Then to I guess kind of wrap it up, you're qualified for Worlds because you have a couple PTIs.
Yes.
What are you thinking of? How do you feel about draft?
I'm feeling pretty good about draft. Again, I usually want to lean Fi.
Hmm.
I think no matter how good of an Icelander deck you have, you can just get destroyed by a good Fire Dromai deck.
Hmm.
Um, so I tend not to draft Icelander anymore. I did it in the beginning, and I have found success. I did get my invite to nationals on an Icelander 3-0. So, but I think Fi is safer, and especially like if you're just trying to 2-1, I would lean towards Fi.
I feel like that was I think like Nationals felt like it was like Icelander was going to be the pick. After playing the Pro Tour. It felt like a lot of the good players settled on playing Icelander, and it just felt like maybe that's why Fi was so open weekend.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and maybe that's why everyone wanted Jomai. They're like, oh, the good players are playing Icelander.
Yeah,
I'll just beat them,
that's what I
giving
was
them.
trying to convince you to do for the
Yeah,
second draft.
but it's funny. You
Um,
talk to good players, and sometimes the good players like playing against Jomai's Icelander and not against Fi.
yeah, yeah, that's also true. That's
you
also true.
you really need to like draft a Dromai deck to beat Icelander. Like I said, I
That's
did.
true.
I just had so many blues and so many ways to
Hmm.
make dragons that I'm like, I have 8 dragons and 12 mana in my hand. Try to kill me.
You had to also get paired into them, so I guess that was kind of
Yeah,
a
there
little luck of the
were I
draw.
think so there were 4 Icelanders in that draft, and then 2
Wow.
Dromai 2 Fi. So
I see why the Fi won the draft then.
yeah,
Okay.
makes sense.
What about Blitz? How are you feeling about that?
Oh, Blitz. Historically, I'm pretty good against and Blitz, but I was playing Viscerai, the best deck.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I don't know. We were thinking about Benji, but that might be too much of a meme. But like I honestly think that can just kill you. But so can Fi. So I
Yeah,
was
Fire seems like a more consistent version of Benji.
like even when I was playing Oldham only in CC, I was like Fi was my Blitz deck, and it just felt
Hmm.
like it did so much damage. Like if I'm doing 32, you're dead, right? Like you're giving me your whole
Yeah,
hand and armor, and then
yeah.
I just get to win because I have really good end game mechanics.
I guess lastly, then, how do you feel about CZ?
Yeah,
How do you
well,
feel about this meta? And do you feel like anything is going to change
right.
going
I
into Worlds?
mean, we'll see tomorrow when the ban list gets released.
Oh, I guess that's true.
I know. I'm like holding off a little bit. I do think Fi is really strong, but I think a lot of people are gonna switch to Fi. So, and I
Yeah,
usually
so as of recording right now, it's Sunday night, and apparently the Battle Hardened results are in. Top eight is five Fis, two Oldhams, and a Dash.
yeah.
So it
So
does seem like everyone's on fire.
that's what I'm saying. And then so we'll see. I usually like playing decks that that aren't necessarily meta. I think actually Fi had a really good representation at Nats, but we didn't think it would,
Yeah.
and it just ended up happening.
I'm super bummed out because I've been playing five. Like I played it at the second Pro Tour. I played it when Stubby Hammers was legal, and I think the deck was just really good. I think it was really slept on, and then like it won UK Nats, and then it did really well at other nationals the week before, so that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But it felt like it was like just it was the perfect meta for five. I felt.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see. I have no idea what I'm playing for Worlds. Um, I am a Lexi player at heart, so maybe I'll find the builds of Lexi that I just want to smash faces with. But
Mm-hmm.
since no one will know what my cards do,
That's true. I still don't remember what half of them do.
yeah, I know.
Um, yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks for joining me, Spencer.
Yeah, no.
Is there anything
Thanks
else
for
you
having me.
wanna anything else you wanna say?
No, no, no. I think that's everything, guys. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a comment for Spencer if you have any questions, and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and follow me on FanDuel on Twitter, and thank you for watching.
Yeah. Bye, guys.